Top Glove Executive Chairman Datin Seri Dr. Lim Wee Chai claimed that past issues relating to forced labour allegations against the group arose lately due to the work of British migrant worker and labour rights activist Andy Hall, who Lim says intends to sabotage Top Glove. Lim says the glove maker is working to resolve the issue with the US Customs and Border Protection and hopes to put the matter to rest this month. Lim explains that Top Glove had in the past allowed its staff to work overtime as they wanted to work longer hours. Its foreign workers' passports were also retained for safekeeping and have been returned to their respective owners about a year and a half ago. To recap, the US slapped a detention order on Top Glove's disposable gloves, and after New Zealand's largest retail organisation Foodstuffs started banning the group's products, citing how the company's practices did not match the Kiwi company's ethical standards. KLCCP Stapled Group saw its 2Q FY20 net profit dip 22.7% from 180.38 million ringgit to 140.46 million ringgit due to the sharp decline in performance from its hotel and retail segments following the government imposing the movement control order. The stapled security, which comprises KLCC Property Holdings and KLCC REIT, said in a bourse filing that revenue was down 23.9% year-on-year at 267.25 million ringgit. It declared a distribution per stapled security of 7.5 cent. KLCCP explained that its retail segment saw a 41.4% drop in revenue as well as a 50% decline in profit before tax following the provision of rental assistance to tenants and lower internal digital income. The hotel segment reported 20.4 million ringgit in losses. As for the first half of FY20, net profit was 12.9% lower year-on-year at 317.34 million ringgit, while revenue dropped from 704.54 million ringgit to 621.84 million ringgit. In a separate statement, KLCC Property Holdings CEO Datuk Hashim Wahir said the full reopening of its business as the country undergoes RMCO is a positive sign towards its recovery and that the group will continue focusing on creating long-term value for shareholders. Analysts remain bullish on Hatalangs' prospects, although shares in the glove counter pulled back a little after days of intense trading. It closed 0.7% or 14 cent down at 19 ringgit and 80 cent. Analysts have revised their target prices higher on expectations that the nitrile glove maker will post stronger earnings in the first quarter of FY21. MIDF researchers Ng Bei Shan said it maintained its neutral stance on Hatalangs but raised its target price to 20 ringgit and 73 cent from 15 ringgit and 79 cent previously to account for the group's resilient outlook in the near to medium term. CGS-CIMB researchers Walter Au upped his target price from 20 ringgit to 24 ringgit and 30 cent as the research firm believes Hatalangs will continue to benefit from the current favourable operating environment for glove makers. Public Invest researchers Chua Siu Lee, on the other hand, raised FY21 to FY23 earnings assumptions by 50% to 120% to account for the higher average selling price. Target price was also tweaked higher to 21 ringgit and 70 cent. The Kuala Lumpur High Court has fixed August 17th to deliver its decision on Datin Seri Rosmah Mansor's application to bar Datuk Seri Gopal Sri Ram from prosecuting her in her graft trial. The wife of ex-PM Datuk Seri Najib Razak is accused of soliciting 187.5 million ringgit from Mmag Holdings to help the firm secure a 1.25 billion ringgit project to supply solar hybrid power to 369 schools in Sarawak. Rosmah is also accused of pocketing 5 million ringgit in 2016 and another 1.5 million ringgit in 2017 to ensure that Mmag would have secured the contract. Lead counsel Datuk Jagjit Singh had earlier questioned Sri Ram's role as Senior Deputy Public Prosecutor in Rosmah's case, as Sri Ram was previously appointed to only handle 1MDB-related cases. Meanwhile, Mmag MD Saidi Abang Samsudin testified that his company has not received any receipt acknowledging the 6.5 million ringgit political contribution given to Rosmah for her husband's political party UMNO. Mmag Holdings has sold its entire 29.89% stake in MSCM Holdings to Penang's Hong Seng Group for 18.09 million ringgit cash. MSCM was formerly known as Pen Pages. Mmag said its cost of investment in MSCM amounted to 16.78 million ringgit and plans to use part of the proceeds from the disposal to buy 2 plots of land in kawasan Perusahaan Valdor, Penang. The rest will go towards setting up a northern logistics hub. MSCM's new major shareholder, HSG, is controlled by Datuk Teo Hai Hin, who is now the company's executive chairman, and his family. MSCM will also be changing its name to Hong Seng Consolidated.